Is Instagram on its deathbed for youth ministry? Instagram actually started October 6th, 2010. I became a youth pastor in January of 2011, and so I became a youth pastor essentially within 2 or 3 months of Instagram beginning. And so years ago when I started in youth ministry, Instagram was a platform that I was implementing and bringing into the fold and framework, right? Coming off of kind of the Facebook era into the now Instagram era, and that became a platform that I really doubled down and leaned in on. Instagram versus TikTok versus YouTube is actually a topic that we've explored. It's linked right here on screen or down in the show notes if you are listening in a podcast catcher. But slowly over time, the key social network my students were using was Instagram. And so I remember in the first couple of churches I worked in, I launched and started an Instagram Instagram social media account, and gained a following. But then as it does, and as it always seems to happen, and grew in more and more popularity, which is a good thing for the app and the creators of the app, slowly that meant more and more adults began to infiltrate and adopt the app, which then made it less and less interesting to teenagers because it wasn't the new thing on the streets that their parents were not a part of. And so just like the meteoric rise of TikTok during the pandemic, which was once an app for teenagers in order for them to lip sync and to dance, has now become an all-out news source complete with ads and sports analysis and anything else that you might possibly want to find on TikTok. And this Instagram thing, now it's no longer this undercover app, it's a mainstream app. It was purchased by Facebook and owned now under the Meta umbrella, and so it doesn't carry the same cachet that it once did when I first started as a youth pastor. One of the reasons I'm even asking this question is I, as a youth pastor in my last 2 stints in student ministry, have recently noticed that when I started, one church I started in 2020, and then the other one where I'm currently serving I started in 2022, my anecdotal experience has led me to ask this question because in each of these contexts, Instagram has best served the young adults and former youth group students who have graduated out of our programs. Again, this is anecdotal and this is just my experience, but I went back several months ago and I did a deep dive analysis, and I realized that about 25% or less of our posts were being engaged with current students in our youth ministry. So there are still students in our youth ministry using it, and your percentages may be different and may be varied, but I was noticing that it was a lot of leaders and it was a lot of parents, which led me to this question: is Instagram for youth ministry dead? Well, let's explore it. Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. If you and I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Nick Clayson. I am a youth pastor currently serving in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area. And in addition to the typical youth ministry duties that I have, such as preaching and writing small group guides and onboarding leaders and all the youth ministry things, one of the major things that I was tasked with and also had a passion to get started on once I began at this church here was to create a digital or a hybrid experience. We talked about kind of the origins of that hybrid experience in episode 100, 2 episodes ago. Go back and check that out, or head to hybridministry.xyz/100. But we are talking about, is Instagram dead? So I'd be curious a little bit of like data and research here. Give me a like if you use Instagram exclusively in your social media, and then if not, give me a subscribe if you use any other social media platform, including Instagram, but also beyond Instagram. And hey, either way, hit the bell because we have some really cool things in store on this channel and coming up ahead on YouTube and on this podcast. But according to Pew Research, Instagram was in 2014, Instagram was up to about 52% of the usage rate among teenagers. Fast forward to 2022, that usage rate went from 52% all the way up to 62%. And then down in 2024, January of this year, we saw that usage rate ticked down only slightly from 62% to 59%. So TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram, respectively, ages 13 to 17, are being reported to being used 63% with TikTok, 60% with Snapchat, and 59% again with Instagram. One of the things that, according to sentiment.io, linked to this and the Pew Research study down below in the show notes, shared was that the uptick of usage you would see to be increased when the ages got older. So it studied 13 to 17, but when they shaved off 13 and 14 and just made it 15 to 17, they saw these increase about 7 to 10 in usage. And so what's interesting is that in my completely free ebook, which is linked right here on screen or down below in the show notes if you are listening, is I recommend that we use digital and social media to our advantage. And one of the good things about it is that regardless of which platform you're on, all 4 of the main social media platforms right now, and by 4 I mean Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, offer the same type of content. When I started in 2011 and beyond, posts were different. Facebook had like a widescreen based post. Instagram had a square based post. YouTube was only for videos. TikTok didn't even exist. But then in 2020, when TikTok burst onto the scene, it implemented and ushered in this new type of medium, which is short form vertical video. We saw quickly after that Reels was adopted in both Instagram and Facebook, and YouTube also brought along Shorts. And so now all of those platforms are using those mediums. And so if you have a camera, which by the way you do because it is in your pocket on your cell phone, you can create short form vertical based video. I recommend that you start with pre-filming your messages in a long form widescreen version, and then you clip those up for social media. And then I also recommend that you supplement some of your content with some fun and engaging social media content with your students and or leaders. I mean, just like right here on screen, if you're watching on YouTube, some of these most recent performing YouTube shorts are incredible, and they are just with our students. We film them before or after youth group, and we just do silly fun challenges with them, and they get incredible amounts of views. And so the good news is that what is being used and what is best available in your context is that you can do your context and you can do what works. If all of your students are on Instagram, then by all means continue to use Instagram. But if you are starting fresh, I may offer and I may recommend something slightly different based on at least the national study and some of the national trends. But here's the good news is that every single church, every single context is different. What I do know that's not different is that teenagers are speaking a digital language, whether they have unfettered and unfiltered social media access on their cell phones or whether they are just used to seeing things done via video, which is why right now I am offering 3 slots of free coaching. If you're interested in taking me up on that, hit the link in the ebook or the link down below in the show notes, and I would be happy to begin a discussion with you about what that looks like and how we can get you up and to begin hybridizing your ministry. Okay, so let's look ahead. If you're completely brand new and you don't already have some sort of established Instagram following and you're looking to start right now, well, then here's what I recommend, which we outlined and explained all in our most recent playlist, YouTube for Youth Ministry, which is linked down below in the show notes. But I recommend YouTube. All right, check out what Pew Research said. This is a survey done by adults and for adults, but it said YouTube by and large is the most widely used online platform measured in our survey. Roughly 8 in 10 U.S. adults report to ever using the video-based platform. Look at this chart right here on screen. You'll see that YouTube is at 93%, a wide margin above the second most, which is TikTok only, which is only at 63% by comparison. So you might be asking, like, what's ahead? Well, how do I get started? What do I do? I have all of that detailed and outlined for you in a 9-part playlist titled YouTube for Youth Ministry. It's actually linked right here on screen. So if you're interested in that and the information about YouTube for youth ministry, how to get started, what gear you're going to need, a crash course for YouTube Shorts and beyond, tap that video on screen and we would be happy to see you over there. But until next time, and as always, don't forget to stay hybrid.